Welcome to Dan ARG YouTube. Godwin Obaseki, the Edo State Governor, town hall meeting with Edo people. For this video where you watch, you go hear the governor. They talk so many things about Edo State, how to move Edo forward. Make I leave you now, make you hear from the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki. Enjoy the video.
As usual, I will spend about an hour to try and give stewardship of what we have done to date. We have a social contract. That social contract was initiated on September 19th last year, when all of you, practically all of you, went around the world, mobilized resources, mobilized our people to vote for me and my administration. And we told you then and made it clear that we are not in any doubt that you are the ones that made us come into government. And as part of this social contract, we owe it to you to periodically come and render account of our stewardship. This is the contract. And today, by the grace of God, I have the pleasure to continue in that mode of fulfilling this contract.
Good evening, sir. Your Excellency, my governor, and I keep calling you the Archbishop because of your level of intelligence to carry Edo State forward. I have been looking forward to an opportunity like this, where you can continue to communicate to the Edo people, and I believe since Edo people will have heard from you, and will continue to stand to ensure that our people get the right information.
Okay, yes. Over to you now, Uncle Sonny Irabo. Please introduce and bring on the governor, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Edo indigenes all over the world. Good evening, everyone in the house. And of course, I want to say good evening, Your Excellency. I had to put the protocol last because I'm proud to introduce to you, Edo people, the proud governor of Edo State. Because a man you want to see as who many may describe him as very tough, very single-minded, but he's delivering and thinks he's delivering. I've not seen any other governor do it the way he has done it, professionally and purposefully. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Godwin Nogegase Obaseki, the governor of Edo State. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you very much, Sonny. Thank you, Lamte. Thank you, Loretta, and the entire team that has put this town hall meeting together. I cannot thank you enough because you may not realize it. There are very few governors and governments in this country that have been able to organize this type of interaction with their citizens this regularly. So I want to, express my profound gratitude and that of the administration of Edo State to all of you that have worked together to help us keep this interaction going. I must state here that this is a people's government initiative. This program has not been put together by the government of Edo State alone. If anything, it was organized by private citizens, and the Edo State government is supporting this initiative. So I want to thank you and also thank God that all of us are here today, almost 1 year after our inauguration, to have this interaction. The last 1 year has been quite traumatic. 1.5 years of the pandemic has been quite traumatic. Quite a few people are not that fortunate as we are to be here with us. So we have every reason to thank God for having survived or still surviving these challenging times that we find ourselves in. As usual, I will spend about an hour to try and give stewardship of what we have done to date. We have a social contract. That social contract was initiated on September 19th last year, when all of you, practically all of you, went around the world, mobilized resources, mobilized our people to vote for me and my administration. And we told you then and made it clear that we are not in any doubt that you are the ones that made us come into government. And as part of this social contract, we owe it to you to periodically come and render account of our stewardship. This is the contract. And today, by the grace of God, I have the pleasure to continue in that mold of fulfilling this contract. Let me lay the background for this presentation. Clearly, the world as we know it has changed. And anybody who wants to imagine that things are still the same is in a dreamland. Nigeria is not insulated from what has happened in the world. We have, within such a short period in the history of mankind, in less than 18 months, seen such a radical changes that have occurred. If anybody had told us that we would have a pandemic where the entire world would come to a halt, where no matter how much money you have as a Nigerian, if you are ill, you cannot even leave your country to go and get treatment outside. So we're now in a situation where we have to deal with a new reality. And what is this reality? First, with COVID-19, we have a new world order. We have a new world economic, social, health order. The emphasis of mankind has now changed. We now realize that with a pandemic, the only way we can get by is first to observe certain protocols, to change lifestyles, to observe social distance. That in itself has also challenged the global economy. So we have seen a rapid change in the way the world behaves. For the better part of 5 months last year, nobody moved. And, so what we used to rely on, crude oil, we now see it's no longer the priority it used to be. People are looking for alternatives to crude oil. I mean, for those of you, outside the country, a couple of days ago, Tesla announced over 100,000 order for 100,000 electric cars. These developments have fundamental implications for us as a people and for our economy and the world and the way we used to live. Even without the oil, even without oil prices reducing today, we know that they're going to reduce into the future. We are challenged as a country because over the last 40 years, we've solely relied on oil and we have not managed our oil resources as responsibly as we should have. Even though oil prices may seem to have gone up, as a country, we're earning less today. And this downturn has affected everything else because we have relied solely on imports. We don't have enough foreign exchange to import goods and services. And we are not transparent in the way we are managing our economic resources or even foreign exchange. All of these have created crises and challenges for us. That is our reality today. So in the light of this reality, what do? We realize that Edo was great before Nigeria was founded. Edo was great even when, as a region. Edo has always been great. even before we found crude oil. And Edo will continue to be great even beyond crude oil. What do we need to do? We promised that if we were elected, we were going to work hard to make Edo great again by delivering true service to our people. And that is what we have been working on in the last 1 year. And how have we done this? We have kept it simple. First, we have rethinking the way we govern ourselves. We are fixing the engine that drives government, because without a bureaucracy that works for government to deliver, government cannot do much. Even in historical times, the empire had a bureaucracy that still exists till today. So every system, every government that needs to deliver must have an efficient bureaucracy. That is what you call government, that works for the people. Secondly, the people themselves have to be developed. We must develop the human capacity that can run the state, that can run business, that can help us build the state and build the nation. And so I was very clear in my campaigns that Edo people were too sophisticated. We've passed the stage of stomach infrastructure. For us, our focus is about the human development, about building a social and mental infrastructure for our people. And when you structure government properly to deliver services, when you develop your people, then these people can now drive commerce. We can now create the economy that you need that will help them prosper and live life to their fullest. So what I'm talking about today is not new. This has been who we've been. This is who we have been over the last 500 years or more. So in the last 1 year, what have we done? What has been the journey? The journey has, like I said, we focused on three main things. How do we govern ourselves? We're not going to wait for Abuja or anybody else to come and tell us and dictate how to govern ourselves. We know how to, we've always done. So what we've done in Edo is to first ensure that, the civil service works. We've created a system to just improve public service performance. Because when we promise that we're going to build roads, that we're going to fix the hospitals, that we're going to change the living conditions of our people, who is going to do this? It is the civil service. It is the public service. Even as politicians, we come, win elections, and after a while we go and we contest elections. But the civil service remains. So it is so critical that we must fix the civil service. And we've been doing so in the last 1 year. And I'm very, very proud of the civil service we have and the way they have responded to the changes that we have made. So how have we done this? We have introduced first what we call the Edo State Transformation Enhancement Project, which we call Edo Step. But before we did this, we said, look, let us even think about these people. People who work for government are human beings. We must improve their working conditions. We must ensure that there's transparency. People can see they're not working for themselves, they're working for us. So we must see what they're doing. They must be open, just like happens everywhere else in the world. So we introduced the Transformation and Enhancement Project for the state. And what are the key elements? First, now the Edo government is run on a merit-based system. You do not have to know anybody. You don't have to have a godfather to be hired. The system is open, you apply, you are tested, and if you qualify, go through the interviews, you will be hired. Doesn't matter your social economic background. We are rebuilding the environment, the offices in which our workers work. We want to treat them with respect and dignity. And we want to have a system where we train and continue to retrain them. We've introduced technology in the way we run our civil service, so that if you are buying things, if you're procuring contracts, it has to be transparent. It has to be done on an electronic platform. We have what we call e-governance now, where we are throwing in every information into a platform. And my hope is that I will be the last governor to treat manual files in Edo State. We're improving the tax administration system. We're changing from a culture where less than 200,000 people out of a population of 5 million people are the ones that pay tax. Everybody seems to be a free rider. So we're trying to ensure that we improve the tax system. We're not increasing taxes. We're just saying more people should pay their taxes. And then we are reviewing the way government does its business, the procedures, the processes. So when you are hired, you come to work, you have to tell us, what are you responsible for on a daily basis? And how do we make sure that you do what you said you will do? So like I said, we've hired over 600 young people, 600 out of the 1,500 we set out. The hiring process continues. As you can see, this hiring is merit-based. We're training and retraining our workers. We're, training them, very, very technology-friendly environment. And I'm very proud that we're also reducing the average age in the service. Whereas the average age in Edo State is about 35 years, the average age in the Edo State Civil Service is 47. We're trying to reduce or realign the process. Like I said, we're also changing the environment. This is not Europe. This is not London. This is Edo State. This is the Secretariat. This is where our people, our civil servants work. We're now taking a total renovation of the entire civil service and all government offices so that people can work in very comfortable environments and be highly productive. These offices have, as we're rebuilding them, they're connected to 24/7 power supply. They all have broadband internet connected to them, and they're very safe and secure. We are, like I said, introducing e-governance. Today, every Edo State worker has its electronic identity. So we know when you log in, your process, everything you do is not captured electronically. We have also, we working with the World Bank, we have an e-procurement platform where every contract, there's nothing to hide. It's there on e-procurement platform. We have to procure electronically so that there's transparency. And then I've been working on, a major reform of our tax administration system. And I'm very proud that we have restructured. Yesterday, I spent time doing a monthly performance review with staff of the Edo State Internal Revenue Service. And you'll say, these are not bankers. These are government officials who on a monthly basis have to come and tell us how they have performed. And we have broken down the tax administration. Say Oredo, for instance, now has 20 tax offices so that we bring taxation closer to the people and make sure that people are no longer paying cash. People now pay their taxes electronically using things like POS and internet transfers. Why are we doing all of this? We're doing this for our people, because at the end of the day, on September 19th last year, you people came out en masse to say, you believed us, you want us to work to change the living conditions of Edo people so that we can make Edo State one of the best places to live in the world, in Nigeria. And how do you do that? Because everything is driven by the human being. So we said, look, let's focus on education. It's about education, education, education. We've focused on basic education, which is the foundation of education. We're also working on training and our people on skills for jobs. We're looking at key areas like healthcare and agriculture. The story of Edo Best has been told over and over again. It's one of the celebrated educational transformation programs globally. The World Bank has talked about it. The government of Rwanda has come to draw lessons from us. The government of Gambia, the various state governments in Nigeria, from Lagos, about 7 of them, have come in to work to see what we have done that has helped us transform education, particularly in our public school system, such that a child today in Edo State, after two terms, is able to read and write. And in spite of COVID, we were able to, because we have a technology platform, we're still able to deliver education to our children throughout those difficult periods. Our teachers have been are very well motivated. We've trained them. You can see the teacher there holding handheld devices and using that to teach the children in their classrooms. The pedagogy has changed. There's no longer corporal punishments. We use, motivational tools to train children, and the children are very happy and excited to come to school. And we can see what is the outcome. Measurement was undertaken a couple of months ago, and it's there. It's not us, manipulating the results. It's that a child in a Edo State public school system today is reading at about 70% of the rate of his peers in Europe and Asia. We have also worked on skills because at the end of the day, it's about jobs. I promised that I was going to deliver 200,000 jobs, and it is possible. It's doable, and jobs are being created. And how are they being created? In which areas? We're looking at technology. We're looking at technical services. We're looking at entertainment. And how are we doing that? We're helping train people. We're giving them opportunities to learn skills, to learn trades. We're giving them support. We've set up job centers in all the local government areas of Edo State. We've raised the first tranche of 2 billion micro, small and medium enterprises funds. We're going to be disbursing, we're starting disbursement this week. We have also built a creative hub, the Victor Waifu Creative Hub, where, we've put in sets, and people who have productions can come there to finish, to mix their, to shoot, to mix and to produce their titles. We have also realized that from the lessons of COVID, we must strengthen our healthcare system. People were ill, they couldn't leave this country. They couldn't go, those who were ill could not go outside to see their doctors. So we had, for us, healthcare is critical. And it's no longer a political event or tool. We are working on rebuilding of our healthcare system from the foundation, from the basic, from primary healthcare. Every ward has a primary healthcare center, which we are upgrading today, making sure that there's a 24/7 power supply, there's water, there's security, we have technology, we train the staff. We've set up a primary healthcare agency. I've moved all the primary healthcare workers from the local governments. I've now moved them to this agency. The local government is paying 60% of their salaries. The state government is paying 40%, and we've increased their working conditions. This way, we want to make sure that the first port of call, if you're ill, is your clinic next door to you before you now begin to come to a hospital. Our hospitals, our specialist hospitals will now be referral hospitals. That is not where you want to come and treat malaria or typhoid or whatever. Those can be dealt with at the primary healthcare centers. We've also done something revolutionary, because why is it that people refuse to go and seek healthcare? They go to patent medicine stores, they go to their herbalists, because they think it's too expensive. Because when you get in there to pay for card, to pay for consultation, so we've broken it down. So look, let everybody have health insurance, and we have packages that are not too, they're not expensive. So for 50 naira a day, you can have a package that just allows you to walk into any of our health centers and get treatment. We have rolled out this insurance scheme. Today, we have almost 30,000 enrollees, starting from our civil public servants. We also under the scheme to the support of the federal government. So for the very poorest of the poor who don't have money, there's what you call a basic healthcare provision fund. For now, we have up to, money for up to 10,000, and that is increasing to just help them access healthcare. We have focusing on training personnel, because at the end of the day, it's the human capacity to support the healthcare system. We are fortunate because in Edo State, between Benin, Iroa, and all, Auchi, we can call up more than 3,000 doctors or 4,000 doctors in spite of the brain drain. But we need to continue to retrain them. We need to also get to produce high-end, high-quality nurses and midwives for our healthcare system. And I'm proud to inform you that we have rebuilt our nursing schools, nursing school, and I think I said tomorrow, they will start classes. We're also focusing on agriculture. We're looking at, because we're blessed, we're different from most states. So we're using, our advantage in oil palm to drive a whole agricultural revolution and reform. Today, apart from the existing plantation owner farms, Kobo and Presco, we've given land to about 8-9 other new developers, and just for the rains, they would have commenced massive land preparation for their nurseries to grow the new areas we've given them. So tonight, I'm saying, look, we came to you, you campaigned, we gave you a message, you sent us to Government House to go and work and make the promise of making Edo great again a reality. We have started. The first 1 year has been one in which we have laid the foundations. You may not have seen what we're doing because we're not the government that jumps all over the place, that make noises, but we have done so much. 1 hour, 5 hours will not be enough for me to tell you how much we've done in the last 1 year. But core to what we've done is laying the foundation so whatever we say government will do, we've laid the foundation to make sure that government has a capacity, because the biggest challenge in Nigeria is not talk. Talk is very, very cheap, but how many people can execute? And the reason why governments can execute, make things happen, is because they do not have the capacity to do so. And we have built that capacity. Secondly, and lastly, we've also introduced the core function of planning. And people are wondering, with all you have done, what happens after you leave office? I said, no, it will only continue, because we are laying down a very clear path to progress, putting down planning functions. As we speak today, there are teams working across every MDA. We're putting together an Edo State master plan for the next 30 years, both a physical master plan and a socio-economic master plan. All of these we never inherited, we never met, but we will leave for the next generations. So we're working towards a goal. And this evening, I'm here to talk with you and say, please keep believing in us. Keep asking. It is your government. We have nothing to hide. We will tell you everything. Yes, it is difficult politically. We're changing things. People are doing things differently. A few people are not happy. They are on social media trying to create all sorts of false stories and false narratives. But, you are all very educated, enlightened people. Keep asking questions, keep engaging. We're not perfect, but we believe that with what we're doing and what we're doing, the way we have started and where we're headed, Edo has no choice but to be great again. Thank you very much. I'll spend the next hour to just listen to your questions and so that we can interact and get suggestions also from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Governor Godwin Obaseki. Thank you so very much. It's now time for us to move to the next segment, which is taking questions from the Zoom floor. Dr. Loretta, do we have some persons now that we can take questions from?
Yes, we do.
Please.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You have been thorough, you have breezed through, we have a number of hands up. His Excellency has said that we may not be perfect, but we are all work in progress. I want to call on, I think we'll take it in batches of 3. So when I call you, you unmute and start speaking, and I'll call the other names so you get ready. And after 3, His Excellency will respond. I have Chris Okunseri. If you can unmute, and at the same time, Barry Iwodaro can get ready, as well as Chief Valiant Efosa Samson Ezoba. So, Chris Okunseri, if we kindly unmute him, please.
Chris Okunseri, please unmute yourself.
Mute. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This is Dr. Christopher Okunseri. I must say at this point that you are God sent to Edo State at this point of our state. And I'll go straight to the question. You have clearly enumerated all you have done in trying to bring our state to where we are supposed to be. So my question to you, because of my background as a health professional and also the current president of the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas, what are you thinking about recruitment and retention of health professionals, knowing where the dollar, the euro, and the pounds stand at this point? Any ideas about recruiting and retaining to really complete this process of building infrastructure and supporting the healthcare system that you are developing?
Thank you very much. I'm sure His Excellency is taking note of this. We'll take the other 2 and we'll answer all 3 at the same time. Thank you, sir. Barry Igodaro, you're next, please. And if we unmute Chief Valiant Efosa Samson Ezoba in interim.
Hear me, please.
Yes, Barry, we can hear you now.
Yeah, good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Pastor Barry Godaro from Manchester, United Kingdom. I want to use this opportunity to thank our amiable governor, and I want to also say, my question is this, concerning the healthcare, according to what my brother just said from the Americans, what is the Excellency going to do about those that don't have the money to access a good healthcare in Benin or Edo State in general? Like, here in the United Kingdom, you don't have to have money to see your doctor. You don't have to have money to go for checkup. But where we came from in Nigeria, the case is not so. So I think like what you said about the healthcare system, I'm really happy with it. But we need to look at this healthcare system. How is it going to benefit the general public? Because there are some people in our states that cannot afford a good health care. So what is the government planning to do for the entire citizen, that you don't have to have money to see?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Barry Udaro. Thank you. The question has been noted. I want to actually say we should emulate Dr. Chris Okunseri. 60 seconds for our questions, please. Next in line is Chief Valiant Efosa Samson Ezoba, please. Can you unmute him, please? So if he's not there, we can move on to another person.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. I'm here, my sister. My Excellency, thank you for this regular interaction with us. I only have 2 or 3 observations, and I'll make it very brief. First one is, I understand from my group that a lot of these activities that we have Agbe coming back to the street, I want you to please find some people to help you investigate if it is true. We will not want to see those kind of rude behavior in our street. The second one will be, we are happy about the street light at the King Square. If you will be patient enough to let us know what would be the framework. Is it going to be only Benin City, or you are extending it to some major road that people will appreciate the good work you started? And finally, like they all said, you know, health is life. And if you go to a place like Dubai, your first 24 hours in the hospital is free. And they come pick you with helicopter, whatever it is that they will take you there and make sure that you are resuscitated. So can we borrow from them and you add it to your program? Let me leave that because other people have questions too. God bless you for the good work.
Thank you very much. I'm sure His Excellency will
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you for these great questions.
Thank you very much. I'm sure His Excellency will respond to all three.
Right. As I said in my presentation, and as you all know, the world has changed. What happened to us in Nigeria and in Edo State? You had this mentality of that, healthcare being very elitist. As long as you had your doctors in London, in Dubai, it didn't really matter what the situation of healthcare is at home, because you can always jump on the plane and go in and do your consultations, get your medicines. And many of you in the diaspora overseas never really helped, because it's any small thing, oh, mama, jump on the plane, please come, and that hasn't been the solution to our healthcare, healthcare challenges. But COVID exposed us, because it didn't matter how much you had, you couldn't leave. So it meant that we had to do something to fix. And what are the real problems? Healthcare is not cheap. Everywhere in the world, somebody has to pay. So what most countries have done, and which has sustained a lot of which has attracted a lot of our own healthcare practitioners, is this whole issue of health insurance. We are fortunate that we have a fairly young population, right, that will not fall ill regularly. Why not let's get everybody to pay something, no matter how small, So we have now launched a healthcare insurance system, a healthcare insurance scheme, and there are different plans. So for 50 naira a day, which comes to 250 naira a week, which comes to 1,000 naira a month, which comes to 12,000 naira a year, you can have a plan. Which means that once you are ill and anything happens to you, you get care instantaneously. Yes, there are some people who may not be able to afford 50 naira a day. That the federal government, working with the federal government, they don't have a scheme, what we call a basic healthcare provision fund. But the important thing is, let's begin to move towards what is happening everywhere else in the world, where first somebody needs to pay. Once you are paying, then you find out that you're able to retain your own healthcare practitioners here. You can't pay your doctors peanuts and expect that. I mean, they are globally competitive. They will go abroad. So we need to improve their conditions. We need to pay them well, pay them more than we are paying them now. And we can only do that when we open up the healthcare space. One thing I realized just working with all my healthcare professionals in Edo throughout the COVID period, because every day at 9 a.m. for more than 1 year, I had what we call a COVID call to try and find out what the situation is across all our hospitals and across our whole healthcare chain. And what I found was quite frightening. But I said, okay, it's not because these people are not competent. Today they are being hired. Many of them are going abroad. If they were not good, they will not go abroad. So why not create the same condition that they are going to meet abroad at home? Why must we also always focus on the poorest of the poor and not get the people who are rich, who can afford to travel abroad, to also contribute to paying for those who cannot? So it's about building a system that is a normal system. In Ghana, the healthcare system works. In Togo, it works. Let's just build something that works. And it means, therefore, that we must put in the right investment. People must pay. Those who cannot pay should be provisions should be made for them. That way we can retain our professionals, because we can pay them, even if we are not paying them the top dollars they will receive abroad. But if you pay them something that is reasonable, who wants to travel? Who wants to live home? The other thing we're doing is rebuilding our healthcare facilities. We've just finished with we finished with the School of Nursing, and like someone said, the School of Nursing we have built in the Benin City easily is one of the best. I think if I challenge anyone to, it's about the best in the country today. The simulators we have, the equipment we have, will train our nurses to work anywhere in the world. The same thing we want to do with our hospitals. Make sure we have the right equipment, make sure we have the technology, so that when you even have difficult cases, there's no reason why some of our brothers and sisters who are abroad cannot consult with their co-professionals locally. Telemedicine is a common practice everywhere. So we as government need to make the investments in our healthcare infrastructure. That's why I laughed, at the joke, which was quite expensive, when people say we're breaking down a hospital, a 90-year-old hospital. I mean, we have built a specialist hospital. You have 2 hospitals in the same premises. One is 90 years old, one is 5 years old. We are trying to break down the 90-year-old one and move it to the 5-year-old one, so that we can get better healthcare and better quality services. And as usual, the defeated politicians who don't have anything doing go on social media and they make it a big issue. Those who cannot afford, like I said, there's a basic healthcare provision fund in place. Let me talk about, you've talked about Agberos. Let me talk about security, because I see it as part of the security challenges we're having. We are working very hard to make sure that we establish law and order. We have not taken our eyes off the ball. We're just re-strategizing and restructuring. But how many federal police officers do we have in Edo State? They are just not enough to cover the state and provide the kind of security we have. So maybe, and right now we're working with the police. We have hired constables. We are now working at the community levels to train our vigilantes and also get them to work closer with the police. Once we do that, we'll get better hold of the security situation. So far, so good. As I speak today, we spent quite a lot of money and resources on fixing the police training facilities in Ogida Barracks. And from the middle of this month, we'll begin to send our vigilantes, send our constables, and even the police for regular and constant training. And also, we're working on setting up what we call our own intelligence bureau, where we can gather information from the streets, process it, and give it to the security agencies to deal with, all the security challenges we have. We're also working with the judiciary to get them a lot more efficient. We're trying to strengthen our magistracy so that as we, find people who are run against the law, we can quickly arrest them and in a civil manner, try them, and then bring them to book. In terms of street lights, as you know, we've had challenges with electricity, and our challenge is very unique because Edo State is the electricity hub of the country. What is electricity? You need fuel to generate, and then you should be able to distribute. Edo is one of the few places in Nigeria today where the fuel supply meets the distribution or transmission. So Edo is gas hub of the country. It's also a transmission hub. So Edo is one of the cheapest points to generate electricity in Nigeria, because it costs you $1 million a kilometer of pipeline of gas, costs you $1 million per kilometer of transmission line. In Edo State, Benin, both meets, transmission meets gas. So it's one of the cheapest places to produce. We also have onshore gas. Most of the gas in Nigeria is either in the swamps or the deep offshore. But you can go to many locations in Edo today, just locate a generator. The gas is there, you can get the gas and generate. That is what we have. So we've, like I said, did the transaction with Osimo Power, where we purchased 5 megawatts just to encourage them to get going. Don't forget that we also have almost 1,000 megawatts between Azura and Ihobo at the bypass, and most of that is not being taken up. And so for electricity, we have the electricity. And so what we're trying to do is put it out there for our people to use. We're using it to power our government offices, and at night we'll use it to power the streets. We have a program where we just started, so that people can see it is real, it works. Our first phase is to connect about 40 kilometers of street lights around Benin City in the main street areas. And then we will now get community participation. For those people who want to extend from the main grid into their streets, they will have to pay something and we'll extend it to them. But clearly, they don't have to pay for the lights at night. Government will continue to do that. We are looking at locations, power locations like Iroa, where we have a substation, Auchi, and it's Edo North, where we have the cement companies, Opila. We have substations there. And we're trying to have arrangements where we can purchase power. If we can purchase power from the grid, then we'll be able to extend to other cities across the state. We are working on creating an domestic electricity market. So we have a law out, a bill out to the House of Assembly. We want to create our own electricity market because we have enough electricity. We don't have to wait for anybody from outside. But we need the laws to do that. We're working on that now. We're creating our own independent electricity commission and independent electricity regulatory agency. By the time we do all of that, the grace of God will have created a framework to get electricity to our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I will now call on Uncle Sonny Rabo to take us through the next batch of 3 questions. Mr. Sonny Rabo, please. Uncle Sonny, are you there? Okay, while we wait for Uncle Sonny, please, can we quickly unmute Collins Obazagbon? And that will be quickly followed by Dr. Grace Ugeho Inoma. And after Grace Ugeho Inoma, the next person will be Ibuede Evans. Please, let's unmute them in that order. Collins Obazagbon, Dr. Grace Ugeho Inoma, and Ibuede Evans. Collins Obazagba, are you there?
Can you unmute, please, Collins?
The host should please make sure he doesn't mute people. I was supposed to speak, but I was muted by the host. So please note. Thank you.
This is Collins Usazua. I don't think I'm the one that's supposed to be on mute.
Collins Obazagbo is on the list here that we have. Can we quickly move on to...
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, My Excellency. Good evening, all viewers. Are you hearing me, guys?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yeah, actually, I think, Mr. Governor, good evening, My Excellency. You've actually enlightened the area I'm very, very interested in. Because although healthcare is very important, but for me, light is one of the most important things in life. Because I actually saw what happened in Benin a few days ago when they put on the street lights. Oh my God. I tell you, light on its own will solve 50% security issues. If there is constant light, 50% security will be dealt with. So, My Excellency, I will plead on that area that, like you said, I want us to focus more and more on electricity, because with electricity, 50% security will be solved. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Okay, please, can we get Dr. Grace Ugeho Inoma? Mr. Collins, please mute yourself.
Yes. Hello. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Your Excellency, for this great work. And especially, I want to thank you for the School of Nursing, that you've renovated. But the area I want to focus on is the rural area. We know that in Edo State, Benin City, Auchi, well developed. How do we encourage those of us in diaspora to start focusing on the rural areas, on our villages, so that the villages will be developed like Benin. So we have multi-cities instead of just focusing in Benin City. Thank you, Your Excellency, for the great work you're doing.
Thank you very much. I know His Excellency is taking notes. Please, can we unmute Ibode Evans?
Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, viewers all over the world. Yeah, my name is Ibode Evans. Your Excellency, thank you so much for touching on area of security and healthcare. Please, my question is this. I'm from Uwonde, precisely in East North. Please, Your Excellency, if you look at Uwonde as a local government, most especially EC, as is, the traffic flow there in terms of people living there is becoming so very low on a daily, yearly basis. Your Excellency, we have vast majority of land over there. Do you have any plan for us in Uwonde, at least if it is oil palm production, because we have somewhere around the this river, close to the river there, we have a very huge land they call Agric then in that river. So I don't know what plan you have for us in that axis, at least to open up that area. That's what I want to know, Your Excellency. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Over now to His Excellency. Your Excellency, are you still there, sir? Hello.
Okay, thank you. Now you muted me. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I agree with Collins that energy is key. You know, I mean, without energy, without electricity, there's not much you can do. That's why over the last 4 years, we have been in this battle to see how we can be self-sufficient in electricity. The good thing, the luck we have is that, like I said, we are generating enough electricity in Edo. In Benin City alone, between Azura, Ihowo, and Osiomo, there's more than 1,000 megawatts, but nobody's picking them up because the distribution company is not interested. So that is why the state has stepped in, and thank God we're making progress. You know, it took us 2 years fighting with BDC to be able to get the license to get Osiomo up and running. Now that we have, yes, we expect that they will still fight, but we are ready to make sure that we do all it takes to get electricity to our people. The rest, just rest assured, we will do it. We are generating, the electricity is there. There are people who are helping us with the generation, with the transmission. Is now how to now deliver the electricity to homes. Rural areas, let me tie that with the question from Evans. So, interestingly too, as you know, my roots are also in EC, so I have great interest in rural development. But we've looked at it realistically. There must be businesses, there must be commercial entities. Otherwise, people will not go back to those rural areas. So we are working very hard. I want to assure you there's a company called Fayuz. It's and some Malaysians, as we speak, who are in whom they have just allocated a bit more land to them. They have started their oil palm production. That they're doing 5,000 in the first instance, and I think they want to expand to about 15,000. So we're encouraging more people to go in. Well, I'll try and spend time to explain what we're doing on the oil palm side. We have a program called the Edo State Oil Palm Production Program, where we're bringing in investors, organizing them in a very special way, to now encourage them to bring investments. Yesterday, I did a presentation to COP26 in Glasgow, trying to make them understand how we're attracting investments into oil palm and then also using it for forestry regeneration. We're doing a lot. I'm very, very interested in the rural areas. I'm very interested in building alternative towns to Benin City so that we can disperse the population and get people to live decently instead of what is going on and everybody killing themselves today to try and get land, doing all sorts of funny transactions and land grabbing when there's a lot more land outside of the city area. So I'm aligned. It's part of our regional planning, which we're working on as we speak. And hopefully in the next few months, we will unveil this regional plan to Edo people to see what the government's plan is for each community, rural or semi-rural.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Yes, Mr. Sonny Irabo, over to you, sir. Please call the next.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to call now on Mr. Dennis Era, or Dennis Era, depending on the tone of the name. Dennis, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know whether we can hear me.
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to first and foremost thank the governor for being readily available for his for the state, because it's very difficult to see a governor who is on ground. As we are holding this program, the governor is right there listening to the yearnings of his people, and that's the kind of governor that we really want. I want to thank him for that. We also want to thank him for his developmental strides in the state. We are seeing developments in the states that weren't there before now. So that's a welcome development. My area of my question is on is CFO issuing. Before now, we noticed the CFO comes out within a month or two, but in recent times we have areas where people put in for CFO, certificate of occupancy, and for months upon months, those certificates are not issued. I don't know whether he can try and work on that area again, because people were most interested in getting lands and developing them in those of us that are over here in diaspora. But in recent times that you have delays, that's a kind of a setback of many people that want to develop land there. Thank you.
I'm sure you have two other names
yes.
to call.
Osasu Owen is the next name, please. Go ahead, unmute yourself and ask.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Good evening, everyone. My area is on the mentioned Tesla Your Excellency talked about during his speech. Now, we all can agree that Tesla is going up due to consistency in projection. Now, I want to ask in terms of electricity and projection, Your Excellency, what is the state doing to eradicate generators and give the citizen light in terms of projection? Will you be able to say 2030, just like UK has said, 2030, no more petrol cars, no more diesel cars, and say 2050, that those states should be free of generator? Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you. And the next name is Lawrence Oihena. Lawrence Oihena, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to appreciate and I want to say thank you to Your Excellency. You've done so well. Most importantly, my question is based on Ubiaja, your promise to Ubiaja people. On three occasions, you've promised Ubiaja Uboa Road. The last occasion was during your campaign in September. You said Ubiaja Uboa Road contract has been awarded. You even go as far as telling us that Ubiaja Udo Road is also on the pipeline. It is over 1 year now. Ubiaja Uboa Road, the contractor you promised that has been awarded, the contract you promised that has been awarded, no contractor is on site. People from Ubiaja cannot access Uboa. Uboa cannot access Ubiaja for the past 20 years. Not just your tenure. For the past 20 years, it has been difficult for us. If you want to go to Uboa, you have to go through another local government. which is unfair. Every administration that has come and gone used that road as a campaign. And I remember also that you are from Ubiaja. Believe it or not, you are from Ubiaja. That I appreciate, sir. Thank you.
If you are not talking, please, can you unmute? I mean, can you mute yourselves, please? Over to Your Excellency.
Thank you. Can I take those 3 questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Okay, let me start from the last one.
Hello,
Lawrence.
good evening. Okay. Hello?
Lawrence, I can now. But yeah.
Hello, sir. Do I just...
Yeah, so in terms of the Boha Road, I have awarded that contract. The contractor is mobilizing to site. The contractor is Mr. Scarf. As a governor, I will not say what I will not do. And like you said, I grew up in Ubiaja, so it's home for me too. I have a house there. My grandmother gave me a house in Ubiaja. So when I commit, we'll do it. It rains in the last, as I speak to you today, it rained in Benin again. So it's been difficult for contractors to mobilize. Right now we had expected that most of them will be on site to be dry season. Today is November 7th, right? And it is still raining. It rained this morning. 3 days ago, there was a storm because of climate change. So it has been awarded, it will be done. The contractor, this dry season will begin the preparations and you will see. So don't worry. Huh? In case of CFO delays, I will check because CFO files do not spend more than 48 hours on my desk. So I'm going to set up in place a system to track so that if you find, to just track to see when people submitted their applications and when their CFOs were released. We promised less than 60 days, and there is no delay from my end. And if I am not delaying, there cannot be and should not be delay from the system. I will check and also set up an ombudsman system where complaints can come to directly so that I can find out what's going on with what's, I'm sorry if there's been delays. It is, we will check. I know, in fact, this weekend I signed over 300 CFOs between yesterday and today. So we don't delay on my end, and I'll find out where the delay is coming from. The person who asked about electricity, give me 6 months, and I'll be able to tell you when we've done all the studies and all the work, the Electricity Commission is up and running. I will be able to definitely give you some estimate by which time I will be able to deliver electricity to every home in Edo State and make sure that they don't now require to use generators. In 6 months' time, based on the studies we're doing, based on the work, I'll be able to give you that answer.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Dr. Loretta will now take us through the next batch of 3 questions. Dr. Loretta, are you in?
Yes, she's in. She's back in.
Let me quickly apologize to our audience. We are sort of having some issues with attempts to hack this program, but we are dealing with it very effectively as much as possible. And so please, let's cooperate with us. If you are not talking, mute yourself, please. Dr. Loretta, over to you, ma'am. Yes, you can mute yourself now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to call the next set of people. Please, if we are not speaking, can we kindly mute ourselves and let the questions be brief? Princess Omonigo Olumese, you will be next. Abibu Sumaila will come after that, as is Semai Erio, who will come on. Dr. Tony Agbons will take some charts after these 3, and His Excellency can take all of them together. So please, if we have Princess Omonigo Olumese on mute, please. You are still muted.
Yes, thank you. Oh, I would say evening or afternoon to everyone, depending on where you are. My Excellency, This is Princess Omonigo Olumese from MD, Maryland. My question has to do with the Urami Hospital. We came together from all over the world, people from Eastern land, and we've been building that hospital. We've been rebuilding. We've sent in so many things. We have fixed almost everything on one part. We have fenced the wall, the whole hospital. We have spent millions. We have sent you letters upon letters. You have not responded to one. And we have been able to open up twice. We have asked your office if you can send just one person to be there. The governor has not done anything. Then Bishop Matthew Otbevolu actually built a place also where people can come if they have an accident. He's been equipped. He has done so much. He has written letters. The governor and your office has not responded for once. So I would think if you want people from all over the world to come back home and invest in our land, why is it so difficult for your office to respond to emails? I have done several emails, as I am the secretary of this group. I'm also the general secretary of the Urami Sons and Daughters. So I'm writing on behalf, I'm talking.
Okay, let me just go. Loretta, let me answer this before I take. You see, when we disregard government and we feel like we don't care about government, people in government are stupid, they don't have sense, they don't know what to do. This is what happens. You know, you cannot just on your own come in and build things in hospitals, build this, as if there's no government and you're not integrating and connecting with government. You know, and that's what we're trying to stop. You know, government should have a plan, and you should now share and be kicking and be part of that plan of government. When you go and build, you know, a facility and government is not aware, how is government going to now staff that facility? How are we now going to run the facility? So the fact of government failure in the past does not mean we should continue it. I think the first thing is for citizens to even respect government and say, okay, we want to do this. What is your plan for healthcare? For us, just as we've done with Specialist Hospital in Benin, that's what, you know, so Urami Hospital and a few others are in the works. So you just can't come and build and write and say, come and do this. You know, you've got to, if you want to adopt the hospital and take it and run it as a private, then come in, because we're in the process of concessioning those hospitals and get them to run in a certain way. But it's not, I don't think it's fair and it's respectful when you don't, in conception, talk to government when you're doing something. And you just say, oh, we've done, we've called, I will come and commission. So how do I now integrate that into our plan? So I think the message for the diaspora is great to help, it's great to assist, but talk to government when you are trying to do this and see what their plan is. If government has not been responsive in the past, it does not mean we are continuing that way. We have a plan. We've been sitting down and conceiving a plan, and it is important. Let's discuss that plan. Let's agree on that plan before people begin to do what they decide. We will come to you and say, we need this hospital furnished. We need this hospital provided for. Please respect government and let government know, and not just think that people in government are stupid, they're incompetent, they don't know what to do. Please.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for that immediate response. We'll go on to the next person, Abibu Sumaila. Can I just ask that if your questions have been taken, kindly put down your Zoom hand. And please, Samari, you'll get ready. Abibu Sumaila, please. And Samari, you'll get ready. And Dr. Tony Agons, get ready to take some chats as well after Samari. If our people is not ready, we can take Samari first. All right then, if none of them is ready, let's go on to Osaze Imasoge, please. Osaze Imasoge.
Okay.
Which has.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Our governor, I'm so happy to be here today to have this opportunity. Thank you very much for giving us details of all you have said. And I want to also thank everyone that have made this program successful to put them together. My question is in the area of art and culture. I want to ask the governor, what is the Ministry of Art and Culture doing about the monumental structure or the status we have in the city? A lot of them are falling apart. I was shocked to see one of them a few days ago that in the ring road, that one of the structure is already falling upon the king sitting down with 2 lions. I was shocked. I said, is there a ministry to maintain or to manage them? Or is it because it's just in public and it's not generating any money to the government? And I believe that many people are coming to the city sometimes just to view the city and see how it is, the way we talk about the Benin city being an historical city, only to come and discover that most of these structures are already old, they are not managed, they are not maintained, and some of them are already falling. And the other day I saw the hand of, whether it's I don't know, was already falling. One of the hands is already chopped off. So it's not a good sight for people to see that structures are incomplete. And I want the governor to see that, I know it's a governor, but there's a ministry in charge to put them together to ensure that they have to give a constant maintenance to those structures regularly so that the city will look as an historical city. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we have Semario if he's there now? Unmuted. Thank you, Osazai Masugi. Abibu Sumaila. All right, if we don't have them, then can we have Ehidiame Etomi, please? Your hand has been up. Ehidiame Etomi, unmute. I've unmuted you.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for this forum and this opportunity to speak to you and hear your ideas. I just wanted to pick up on the point that...
Mr. Hidiame, please, could you put on your video, please? It's part of the protocols, please.
Sure.
We'd like to see who's asking the question, please.
No problem. Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, or good evening, should I say? Sorry, good afternoon. Thank you for the time. I just wanted to pick up on the point that was raised earlier in regards to the rural electrification of Edo State, and basically what is the government's appetite in working with companies that are happy to do this, and what kind of technology or discussions are in place to help with this going forward. I just asked because we have some data that has been collated for Edo State, and we've had some, sites where we believe alternative technology can be used, such as solar energy, to help with the light situation. I just wanted to find if the government has any appetite to do this going forward, and if it's something that is on the horizon. And if it is, how do we engage and speak to the government to, push things forward and share some ideas that we have to continue Edo's push to be one of the leading states in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Tony Agbons, if you take a number of charts with this now, so His Excellency can just take all of this together, please.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Loretta. So these are from the charts. I have this one from Egosa Orobato. Your Excellency, is there any plan to correct the issue of land fraud in Edo State, activities of community chairmen, which has become a disincentive to investing in real estate in our state? So that's from Egosa Orobato. This one is from Princess Omonigo Olumese. She's talking about the Edo Best program. She's asking, Your Excellency, are the rural schools exempted from this program? And then this last question, I just picked from the chat from Lawrence Weaver. He said, Dear Governor Obaseki, what is the current status of the development plans to open up the riverine areas of Ikobaoka local government area from Ologbo to Ajoki to unleash the commercial potentials therein. So those are the three I've picked here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for those questions. Let me just quickly try and run through. In terms of, monuments, somebody asked about monuments and the ministries. You know, when you find out that government is not delivering services, there's a reason why. Means that those agencies, those ministries, those people who have been given the responsibility are not doing what they're supposed to do. That is why we have spent time in the last 1 year to fix this. Rather than going about trying to make excuses and complain, we've said, let's fix the engine. And going forward in the next few months, going forward in the future, all of these will change because we now have people responsible. You'll be able to go on our website, you're going to go into the portal, go to the Tourism Commission portal, you see the person in charge of monuments, and then we'll be able to query that person. So all of this will be fixed. We just didn't want to be dealing with these issues on an ad hoc basis. We wanted a holistic approach to our development. So all of whether it be schools, whether it be monuments, we're now getting people in charge, holding people accountable, people responsible, so that, for them to do the work they're being paid to do. Hidame talked about rural electrification. Yes, we are. For instance, we are at this point looking at how to provide electricity, electricity in all our primary healthcare centers in the rural areas. The issue for us is price. If we can get good pricing such that it makes sense, it is much cheaper to use alternative energy instead of the traditional diesel power generators, of course we'll look at. The other thing, we're also thinking about what is the best way to, approach this problem. How should we contract? Should we just buy power from you? I've tried it. We've been negotiating with some companies to say, look, we're not interested in owning the solar cells, owning the battery. If you're going to sell power to us, what will be your price per kilowatts of power in using alternative energy? So those are the issues we are discussing at this point. But certainly, alternatives are critical and key too. And the Electricity Commission, when it's set up, will be the ones to drive these conversations further. Land fraud, land grabbing is a big issue, which we are dealing with. The Inspector General of Police was here. I discussed it with him. He's given us two special squads to deal with this. Next week, I'll be inaugurating the committee because we have, by law, we've set up a committee or task force on on private property protection law, which protects properties of private citizens. That committee will be headed by a judge, will be set up. The law stipulates a 10-year jail term for people who sell other people's lands and other properties. And that committee will be set up. I have actually gotten accommodation. I'm going to see the IG to get that team deployed. And we will deal ruthlessly with any community and any individuals who are currently involved in land grabbing. It's a very, very serious matter. And so we are preparing. We're having two special squads, well armed, and we'll go community by community to handle and deal with these people, no matter how highly policed they are in our community. And we will send as many of them to jail so that we can curb this incident. On the rural areas, rural schools are part of Edo West. In fact, that is the strength of Edo West, because what is being taught in the schools in Benin City are the same thing being taught in all the rural schools. And believe it or not, the rural schools seem to be doing better, in terms of learning outcomes, than the urban ones. So if there are any specific areas, schools that we haven't reached, there are just very few of them, because we're reached by 1,100 schools. There are very few that are outside, because you have some communities where you just have maybe 50 children in the school, it's then difficult to now have, implement Edo Best. So we're trying to see how we can have multi-grade learning approach for those schools. We don't have enough pupils in those schools, in those communities, except in those cases we are reaching out to every community in the state with Edo Best. As for the question on riverine rural areas in Ajoki, the good news is that as we speak, we're in partnership with Sopatec and a company that is drilling in that area. And we've gone into a joint venture and we're actually building the Ajoki Road as we speak. Just pray that the rains subside so that the contractors can continue with their work. Those areas are going to be opened up. Those are areas of growth and expansion. So don't worry, it's something we're working on.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Yes, the next batch of 3, we have Clement O. Aseharen, and that'll be followed by Omoime Philip and Fred Akoma in that order. Please, can we unmute Clement Aseharen? Clement, are you there? Okay, if it's not there, please, can we go to...
I'm here. Good evening, Your Excellency. Good evening, everybody in the house. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I recently just moved into the UK barely 2 weeks ago, so I think I have some basic questions I could ask from Benin, Pisali, I stay at Ubuyoko. I want to draw the government's attention to Ubuyoko Road. I think when the project started, we commended the governor's efforts so far. But you found out from Obama Market Road to Igile was tied, but not up to 3-4 months, you have failed portion at Ago Junction or thereabout, which has become deplorable at the moment now. So I want to ask the government, what is it doing? And how long will it take to deliver these projects? Because it's a lot of hell. People coming out from there to Ring Road Delhi. Before I came here, I know we'll go through driving down that place. Morning, evenings, traffic and jam. You pay 2 times transport fare. Your driving is a hell. So I want the government to at least, those failed parts where they've just worked on barely 3 months ago, you should also ask them to refill it because it's becoming an issue at Ago Junction to access Ekama Road. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, we equally have, please let's unmute Omenime Philip.
Hello, good evening, everybody. God bless you all. My name is Omenime Philip. I want to draw the governor's attention back to the rural area because this is where I'm most interested in. Concerning this situation of the securities in the, when you talk of the rural area, like the Equipment local government, the herdsmen situation on that area, their activities on that area, and Wohime, they're going to Urami. What is the governor doing about it? I heard he make mention that we are having limited security, but 3 days ago, I got an information how the Edo State Police mobilized 1,000 police to Anambra State for the election of just 2 days. But in this rural area, they are killing people. People are dying on daily basis. So what is the governor doing about this? God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's get Fred Akoma unmuted, please. Fred Akoma.
Fred is unmuted.
Yes, Mr. Fred, go ahead, sir. Fred Akoma, can you hear me?
I'll go to the next person.
Okay, quickly, let's get. I'm sure he's having some.
I'm at work. That is why.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
I'm at work. That is why.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm from so I
can't hear. I think we'll go to the next person. His line is breaking.
Fred Akoma, apologies. We barely hear you. Please, can we just mute him so that we can move on to the next person? Let's quickly unmute Max Ogiego. Max Ogiego. Max Ogiego, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, His Excellency. Comrade and show, I salute you. My question is regarding the way price of materials, food items skyrocket every day in our state. Is really affecting our people. Please, His Excellency, please, sir, if there's any way the government can look into this, our market people, the building materials, those who are in charge of food stuff, the market women, because we all learn that they have their unions. So most of the time, we all base all error on government. But we also understand that our people are also in charge of all this inflating price every day. Please, His Excellency, sir, if there's any way the government can look into this union of a team so that they can control, we can have a price control so that the common people can also survive in the state. Thank you, sir. Thank
you very much. Yes, over to His Excellency.
Thank you very, very much. Let me take this very, interesting questions. One touched on infrastructure, roads, one touched on security, and one talked about food prices and agriculture and food prices. My people, I think we should step back and, just reflect on all the questions we've been asking. This is just a general, when we all sit back and say, okay, what is government doing? What is government doing? What is government doing? That has been the approach in the past. I think we must now begin to rethink that approach to say, look, how can we help government to do, right? Because what government is doing is to try and strengthen government to deliver on what you expect. Because today, I will be the first to admit, I've never always been in government. What you call government is a shadow of itself. So if we do not fix government, we've removed the godfathers from politics, who used to just, behave anyhow, do anyhow, give this person work, whether the person can do the work or not. You must all now support me to look at the entrails, the inside of government, to get this government to work. You can't be blaming government that does not exist. You can't be blaming government that you are not investing in. Out of almost 5 million people in Edo State, less than 200,000 pay taxes. So where is this government going to get money to do all these things they are expecting them to do? How can you help? How can you participate in this reform? That is one way I expect us to all begin to think as we intervene. But specifically in the area of Guyoko, we have one of our best contractors, Heartland, building that road. They have not abandoned, they have not left open them. The challenge you have, like I said, is that every time they want to go to site, the rains come. So they've had to wait to say, look, let us just wait. Instead of wasting money doing a little, let us wait, let the weather change, and then we can now go ahead and do what we need to do. Nothing has failed. It's like, okay, what they're supposed to, they've done all the drainage, right? And I've intervened, I've gone to them, and there's no problem with that contractor or that contractor. The challenge we're having is weather. If somebody told me that, if you are arguing about climate change, come to Edo, climate change is real. November 7th, it is still raining as if it is in June or July. How can contractors go and work? And road construction, asphalt, they don't like water. They don't go with water at all. So it's not a question of funding. We've given them money. We have the money to pay. The contractors are competent. It's just timing. With the issue of security, where I say, look, at the end of the day, most security is local. Nobody from outside can come and secure you. Nobody knows your domain, your home better than you. So the long-term solution to security is us getting the locals more involved, giving them more authority, and giving them the backup. we are saying we must restructure the Nigerian security system. It is not coping, it is failing. Somebody from Abuja cannot come and secure you in your village, in Woimi or wherever you said, wherever you're looking at. So we are investing, we are getting the communities to invest, we are training, we're doing all the, it's security, I can't tell you the amount of investments and things we're doing. But most people will agree that the security situation today in Edo State is much better than it was 6 months or a year ago. And it will only get better. I agree with you on food prices and people and cartels who are pushing up food prices. But my own view is that we as government, we want to give more incentives, we give more support for people to produce more food. If you produce more, then those who are trying to hoard will be out of business. So I will continue working with the various agencies to now see how we can support farmers and farming. And also one of the things I'm doing now is what we call the Independent Farmers Initiative, where we've given people inputs, we're going to help them prepare their land, we're giving them fertilizer, and we're also promising to buy back the food from them. And that hopefully we can now develop a commodity market along the line. These things we will get through them, we will overcome them.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I will now hand over to Mr. Sonny Rabo to take us through the next batch of questions. Uncle Sonny, are you there, sir?
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. We have Mr. Israel Asebuta, who's the next person. Please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question. Israel
Hello, good
Asebuta,
evening.
Please.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, gentlemen. Your Excellency, good evening. Thank you for this e-town hall meeting. And I'm very pleased. My name is Israel Asebuta. I'm representing Nigeria Watch Worldwide. And my first question is this. Mr. Governor, I am still going to talk about the insecurity, if you permit me. The insecurity in our state right now.
Mr. Israel, sorry, sir. Let me quickly remind you that you have 60 seconds, sir.
Yes. The insecurity right now, we pledge to maintain law and order. And the insecurity right now in our state is very, very damaging. Right now, the herders and farmers, they are clashing right now, and it's causing a lot of damages, and people are dying. Now, Mr. Governor, what is your administration putting in place to make sure that this thing does not occur? And why are you not signing? Why is your administration not signing the bill into law? Because 98% of Edo people want the open grazing law to be signed. And the second of it, or the infrastructure, the road. The road in Ekenwan Road right now, it is still going on. And you said in your statement saying that everything is done, it's just the surface, and the money is there. Why is the project still not completed? Edo people are worried. Thank you.
Thank you, Israel. I just wish you were listening. I just finished talking about that. And please, it's important that everybody listens carefully when other people are talking, so you don't repeating yourself. We've just talked about the Ekenwan Road, the Nguyoko Road, and the challenges that they face, right? I said, look, I don't know where you are, but when you're in Nigeria, you have what you call dry season, don't you? The dry season will start by the first week in October. Today, as I speak, I said this morning, it still rained. 2 days ago, there was a storm in Benin. How do you construct a road in that situation? You had the whole rainy, it's almost 6 months of rainy season. So we're working on that. The other issue about security, please, I'm using this opportunity to appeal to Edo people. Do not, you see, the way you treat your own, what you say about yourselves is what people take away. If you go out there and you begin to say, oh, Edo is very unsafe, this security, that is what people would take. Meanwhile, when you look at the ranking, Edo is not, when you look at it, compare Edo to any of the other states around us, we're much better. We're not saying we're perfect, but when Edo people go out to now become, for whatever reason, castigate and say things and bring down Edo down, what do you expect other people to say? There is security, but there's insecurity, and there's a perception of insecurity. Lagos is not safe. It's not the safest place to be. But you never hear on television, on radio, people saying, oh, Lagos is unsafe, don't go there. And I think so for you, particularly people like you in Israel who are in the media, it is important that you help us. Do not destroy, do not carry negative information about your own home, because people will take it from you. People will believe that that is what it is. Yes, Edo is not perfect, it's not the safest. But it's not the safest. The things are not perfect, totally safe. But in terms of progress, we've made significant progress. And we have a formula. A couple of days ago, some school children were kidnapped on their way from school. And within the community, the vigilantes and the police, they've gone in and released them, and we've tracked all of them. These are the sort of things we should be emphasizing for our own good and our own future. In terms of the anti-corruption bill, they said, look, we had a town hall meeting. I can't, for me, it is wrong to promulgate a law you cannot enforce. So we went out, we had a town hall meeting to say, yes, we don't want open grazing, but what is the alternative? And so that we can police whatever law we put in place. If I say, I don't want to see any cow, being grazed, in the open, then what am I saying? Am I either saying, I don't want to eat beef in Edo State, I don't want milk, or this is the area the cows should go to if they come, and who is ready to give their land? These are fundamental issues. We called everybody, called the Christian Association, everybody, so that we can discuss it and debate it. I'm not looking for cheap political victory to say, oh yes, I've issued anti-bribery. It's very easy to pass a law. So does that solve the problem? I'm your governor. You trust me. That's why you voted. You allowed me to become your governor. And if a real problem, we have to sit down and look for ways to resolve the problem, and not look for political cheapskates to say, oh yes, we've signed, because everybody's signing anti-grazing bill, therefore we'll go and sign in Edo. Whether it works or not, it doesn't matter.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Yes, over to you, Sonny.
Next person is Abewa Obaraye. Okay. Abewa Obaraye, please submit yourself and go ahead.
Domo, my Excellency, thank you so much. My name is Abewa Obaraye, and I'm speaking from California. I want to thank you for your vision and all you've been doing, especially regarding the tree planting in Sakomba. And that is a source of job creation and also revenue. So I have two questions, quick ones, sir. One is regarding waste management. What are your plans regarding that area? Because waste management, I know, is also going to be a source of job creation, revenue, and cleaning the environment. Then the second question is regarding, like you said, the climate change that has affected the state. And with this climate change, there's a lot of rains every day. And this rain is bringing in a lot of erosion, destroying properties and lives and everything. So is it possible for us to have an overhead bridge in like Atugbowo, that is the gateway of Edo State? If we can have a bridge there, overhead bridge there. And another area is the Upper Sakomba. That one has been on, right from Goreti Junction. When we're in school, you can't even go to that area. I think they used to call it, I don't know the name again, I've forgotten. So if we can have overhead bridge there and at Ugbo. Thank you, sir.
The next name is Daniel Okorua. Daniel Okorua, please go ahead. 1 minute. Daniel Okorua, please unmute Daniel Okorua. Let him go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, His Excellency. I'm happy you talk about putting a system in place that can do a check and balance. I'm so proud of that, but I wanted to look into the maintenance culture. We can't be doing things and not remember maintenance culture. We can't be doing road and forget maintenance. So please, in your system that you have put in place, I want you to consider maintenance culture so that we don't take 5 steps forward and 20 steps backward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you now, Your Excellency.
Well, thank you. I think you touched on 2 very key issues. One is the issue of waste management and how we dispose of waste. I will be the first to admit that it's a challenge because we're seeing rapid urbanization, and because we don't have we have weak governments, particularly the local governments that should have been the main institution to deal with this issue of waste. We have been lagging behind. But what we have done is that we now have data, because under the program we call Data to Mega, we sent out young men and women across the states, major cities, to do enumeration of homes, businesses. So we have data. So we're working on a program now of how to rejig our waste collection system. But it's complex and expensive. So when we pick up waste from the homes, how do we transport where do we transport the waste to? Is it directly to the dump sites? In the dump site, how do we maintain those dump sites? How do we separate waste? How do we process waste? There's a whole science to that which we're working on. And we will need funding to do this. So it's an area that we're working on, and we're going to be coming up very soon with the policies and the new measures we have put in place in terms of waste management in the states. You talked also about, I wasn't quite sure, you talked about climate change, you talked about breach. I didn't see the relationship of how that, but let me talk about the issue of planning and infrastructure. When we came in, we did not meet any plan. The last fiscal plan, the last fiscal master plan for Edo State, I'm not sure we've done any in Edo, was from Bendel, was done in 1973, and it has expired. So, so I'm sitting there, I'm looking for documents to see, could this settlements in upper, all the uppers, let me see what the plan, you can't find any, because those areas were never planned. People just moved in, bought property, land from communities, and just built. That we're trying to avoid. So once we have proper planning, then we're able to determine where we need to have bridges, where we need to have, expanded roads, and what have you. And then to say over the next 30 years, this is how we want our settlements around. These are the satellite cities we want to build. We need that plan which we are putting in place so that future governments have a guide. Today, government is reacting. Government is not proactive. It's like the people are the ones leading rather than government leading. So with the planning we're putting in place, and thankfully within the next 1 year, we'll all come up, we'll launch. In fact, when you see these plans in action, it's not just documents, you'll see it in action. You say, okay, this area, this is supposed to be road, this is supposed to be school, you cannot build here, this is supposed to be drainage, so that we can, just like you find abroad, we can preserve our environment and our communities. Daniel talked about maintenance culture. I cannot agree with you more. I think it's also more than maintenance culture, it's also the attitude of people to government property. It's like, government property doesn't belong to anybody, so you can do anything you like. If anything, it's like, nobody cares. The people who are supposed to provide it don't care. The people you are providing it for don't care. So we need reorientation. There must be ownership, because you can't maintain what you don't feel that you own. That is the first thing, is that sense government is my own. Because people try to, people want the benefits, but they don't personalize, they don't see government as their own, and to do things and take steps to help preserve those assets. In government, we're laying a lot of emphasis on maintenance of roads, maintenance of public buildings. And we are part of the recruitment we're doing is in this light. So it's an area we're working on, and we hopefully we'll make success of what we're trying to do. I'm looking at the charts, and I've seen some comments on teachers in schools. Let me let you know that we are very aware, and we're doing something, and in fact, we have done something. What we've done is to start what we call a new teachers fellowship. We have gone to the various communities, and the process is on. We're still hiring teachers from the communities. Because one of the problems we had is that when you hire teachers centrally in Benin, they don't want to go to the villages to teach. So our plan now is going to the villages, going to the rural areas, hiring the teachers there, training them on a fellowship program so that they can now stay in the schools in those communities. We've done the first 1,700, and I think we're still hiring more. So if we have not gotten to your communities, we will get there soon. So it's an area we're very, where we know about, and we're working hard towards resolving. I saw a few posts on a few charts on teachers and schools.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Just to add to the charts, you've taken a Rabok Godwin's own on teachers and their shortage and how you're managing it. There is one from James Odiase here, and I think he may have answered it, but he said, what is your clear strategy to leverage on Edo State competitive advantage? The fact that the Benin-Auchi road remains dilapidated is very concerning. What is the government doing with the federal government to repair this road and ensure farm goods are evacuated to the market for economic prosperity and food security? In the same vein, Comrade Agbodion goes on to ask you in the chat, Your Excellency, sir, please, the general hospitals in the state need to be revamped. These hospitals and PHCs are very close to the grassroots. What are you doing about them? I think you'll be taking that as well to some extent. And then there's Benedita Ebwehi here. Benedita Ebwehi is saying that there is an overhead bridge at the front of Uniben, but the students would rather walk a mile to cross the road rather than use the bridge. What is the governor doing about this? And Bobby Obayuwana is saying that the Edo State, okay, this is actually a sentence, a statement. Edo State Waste Management Board is now very effective as refuse disposal has become more and more effective. And someone is also asking from the charts, I can't quite see the name, when is the local government elections going to be, Your Excellency? These are from the charts, and I will just take the next three so you can take it along with these charts, sir, if you don't mind. The next three people, Apostle Alfred Uyinosa, please could you take your question while Oberland TV gets ready? And Sema Rio, I heard you, you actually expressed displeasure, but you had earlier been called and you did not unmute. I'm sorry, but you have a second chance now. So please, can we have Apostle Alfred Uyinosa, Oberland TV, and Sema Rio in that order? Alfred Uyinosa, you are unmuted, sir. Okay, so we can move on to Sema Rio.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello. Yeah, hello.
Okay, go on, sir. Go on.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My governor, my lovely governor. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Apostle, sir, sorry, sir. Just part of the protocols. Could you put on your video, please? We'd like to see those. Okay, okay. Oh, sorry for that. All right, sorry for that. Yeah, good evening, sir. There is no light, so I'm using my torch. Good evening, sir. Your Excellency, my governor, and I keep calling you the Archbishop because of your level of intelligence to carry Edo State forward. I have been looking forward to an opportunity like this, where you can continue to communicate to the Edo people. And I believe, since Edo people will have heard from you and will continue to stand to ensure that our people get the right
information. You know, when the right information is not beginning out, demonic propaganda will continue to fly. And with your explanation this evening, sir, I believe Edo State, Edo people have gotten the message. Then from our own end, we will continue to support you to ensure that you succeed with God on our side. God bless you, my governor. I love you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Oberland TV, please, and Maxine. Thank you, Apostle sir. Oberland, please unmute.
Good evening, My Excellency. As we were talking before for here, we talk from Oberland TV and radio. And for here, you know, Our Excellency, we don't deny the big Oyibo. Now the small one be everybody they hear that would not for this side. Our Excellency, we don't see and say, you don't do so many work, we say all I don't see. I would don't see and say many things for ground, we say, I never see touch to. As we therefore here, since we listen to people as they talk, My Excellency, the question I be this one. We know, say, our Edo State, we get media where they call people, basically they communicate to other people for other places. But the question with this one, My Excellency, what thing the Edo State media personnel don't they do now to get in touch or to connect with the diaspora media so that make things basically they do for Edo State, make all eyes they reach out, and make the truth basically for that the matter basically they come out. So now this one be the question who they ask from Oberland TV, this one, My Excellency.
Thank you very much, Oberland. Samario, you are next, and I've asked to unmute you, please. Dr. Agbons, could you unmute him? I think we are having technical issues.
Samario, can you unmute yourself? It's not still raised up.
All right, if it's not able to unmute, we can go on to the next person.
Dr. Sayuri Okumbawa.
Dr. Sayuri Okumbawa, please go ahead, please. We have about 40 more people who need to ask questions. So we need to be quick, please. Dr. Okumbawa is nowhere to be found.
I'm on now. Can you hear me?
So go on.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We're grateful for this opportunity to interact with you directly. I'm calling from the United Arab Emirates. In my growing up days, school sports were so good that a lot of us youths had our heroes amongst us who were footballers and other sports. I'm aware that the state have tried to activate sports already through the Deputy Governor's office, but I think we're not seeing enough of sporting activities to keep our secondary school people busy. A situation whereby we have secondary school sporting activity like leagues among secondary schools, active league, all different kinds of sports. This will keep many of these youths from vices. It will also help many of them to discover their talents that can make them professional athletes tomorrow, which are capable of any foreign exchange for the state and for those who are into sports. So I want to put as an advice across that school sports should be actively ongoing. We don't wait for once in a year time. So Your Excellency, please let them do more about school sports activity. It will reduce crime in our city. We have too many young people in secondary schools who do nothing and they go into crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Okumbawa. Your Excellency, I'm sure you can take all that back and
thank you. Yes, I think the federal government is working on concessioning some roads now, including the Benin Auchi Road, and it's one of the areas we're looking and working, and hopefully, even if they don't concession that road, we're also working on the possibility of creating a new alignment, a new interstate road that will link Benin, Ekpoma, and Edo North, because that is our lifeline, our artery. We need as much infrastructure to be able to reach out to people, like you said, go into the rural areas and be able to bring out food produce from the rural areas into the markets. So it's one area that's in the plan. And when you see the regional plan, the urban and regional plans we're putting in place, all of these are all elements that will be contained in the plan. Not just another document, but also how we can execute on this over the next several years. Like you said, development is not a sprint. It is not a one-day event. If governments before us have been doing this, we would have made much more progress. So we shouldn't beat ourselves too hard. We have started. Clearly, we know what is wrong. We know what we need to do. We're organizing government. We're organizing ourselves to be able to do what we need to do. Local government elections, once we settle, get all the commission, we finish with appointments and settle all our, issues and challenges that, politically, hopefully very early in the new year, we should be considering having those elections in place. We're also, like I said, doing a restructuring of the local governments themselves, because we have to be very careful. If we don't do something about the local governments themselves, the local governments today are technically unviable. They don't have enough money to even run. So if we don't restructure, we just go ahead and begin to have elections, bring people in. The local government, it has collapsed. That is the truth. Let me not hide anything from you. So we're now sitting down there looking at their revenue streams, the number of people they've employed. Let us clean that up. Let us just not rush and continue to do the things we need to do. If we don't have a viable, strong local government administration, there's no magic we can undertake as a state, because there's some very, very basic functions that the local government must undertake. But when you have a local government that has almost 700 staff and they cannot pay them, don't you think we should address those issues before we go and have elections? Elections in themselves will not address those issues. If anything, by the time you bring in political officers who are afraid to take decisions, the problem will just be compounded. This last set of local government officials or administrators left a debt of almost 12 billion after all we had done. Yes, some of it was as a result of COVID, but we need to address all of those, and we're doing that as I speak. School sports, I cannot agree with you more. We're working where actually the bill for the new sports commission is in its final readings in the State House of Assembly. Hopefully by next month, it should be out. So and part of the mandate of the Sports Commission is to promote school sports. First, to help us hunt for talent, and more importantly, to help take away our young people from the streets and get them physically active. As you know, we have almost 20 mini stadia across the state, and we're building more, and we need to put all of this to use. So we are very, very, we're aware, very cognizant, and doing something about it. Overland TV, I thank you. I thank you for this, your own comment about our communication. What we don't do with communication for government is say, we look and say, okay, how government they even communicate, how they talk to people. Because we look at them, so this communication are two sides, 9 days. One is how government itself, they talk to themselves inside government. Because for government, one hand, left hand will they do something, right hand will know. Because they know they talk. There's no system in place. So make sure, say, this, one thing they happen for government, every people for government know. At least if they know, they figure outside, go tell other people what in government they do. Then the other side of the communication, okay, how government they tell other people outside what they happen, in a way where everything come together, not be one person go say A, another person go say B within the same government. So what we don't do now, we don't set up what we call ECHO, Edo Communication Office. Yeah, it's part of the government. And this office, we get officers for every agency. So every day they will come, bring that information, what thing they happen. But to make this thing more effective, we can get website and portal where all this information go there on top. So that anybody like Overland TV, when you want information, if you enter that site, go to the portal, okay, say, this is what happened today, rainfall for this place, so the flood, okay, if you want to find out more about them, then the name of the officer when they in charge for environment, if you phone that one to say, what happened about the flood today, to say carry people or what's in. So And we want to say in the sense that first, we don't organize ourselves as government to be able to make we feel gather information about what in government they do. Make sure, say, even us when the government, they even talk to each other, make we even know what they happen. Then also that's a system they to now, not be say we go not be propaganda. It did there. Any information you want, you can go inside yourself, go look, understand what they happen, and make your own opinion based on. So we get the Do Communication Office, and you will hear more from us on that side.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Just to say to everyone in the House that we have exhausted 2 hours, but we still have a number of hands up. Not to worry, not to be angered. There will be another event and another occasion. So if Your Excellency is able to take 5 more and then we round up, and then next time we can have another session. Understandably, everybody cannot ask the question in one session. Can we take 5 more, sir?
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right, excellent. Can we have Kenny Baswaye, GBKM, please, unmuted? And Charles Odion, please get ready. Femi Obano, get ready as well. And Esosa Ede Obaroge, as well as Ambassador Matthew BQ Wifo. In that order. Ken Baswaye, please. You're unmuted, Ken. Go on. Thank you. If you're not ready, can we go with Charles or Dion? I'll come back to Ken Baswaye.
Okay.
Charles.
I'm ready. Okay.
Go on, Charles. Ken, get ready. We'll come back to you. Go on.
Thank you, Governor Obaseki, Your Excellency, for the work you have done. And I'd like to say there are 4 things that determine the democracy in which we are. One is freedom of expression. You say what you want and you do it. Second is the ability to fix the government. The third one is power. And the fourth one is currency. The first one you've already dealt with, because people express themselves to vote you back as governor. So democracy is established in the Edo State. Thank you. You said you need ideas as to how to fix government, because if government is not fixed, your money will not go far enough. We'll give some of those ideas. You've also said you will do some things about power, and I think that needs to have a different market approach. If we are all allowed, we make some contributions. The last one, I think people don't realize that no matter what the governor does, if the currency is not well managed, there's very little that the money can do. And the governor said something about the way the central bank was printing money. People shut him up. They didn't do anything. Now we know where the currency is. So it's not just for the governor to talk. We also must talk in our different areas to reinforce what he's saying. Thank you very much. Thank you. I finished.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have Ken Baswaye now? And in between, Your Excellency, Igwodala wants to know what is happening with Gelegele Port. Ken Baswaye, are you ready? All right, we'll go on to Femi Obano. Femi Obano, please.
Okay, thank you. I've been unmuted. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for taking the time to come talk to all Edo people across the world. I want to touch on the area of taxes. You had mentioned earlier briefly about this. My concern is I feel like Edo people are not fully conscientized on the importance of buying into the government, because we all have a part to play in making sure that our society is better. And, we know that because in the Western world we live in, the reason that development keep going on here, year in, year out, is because everybody buy into it. So we all are stakeholders. We pay our taxes. By law, you have to. If you don't, then you have a problem with the government. But it seems that in Nigeria, and Edo in particular, people don't have this orientation. I think it's this duty of the government to conscientize people and make them understand that this is a duty that everyone has to participate in to make our government and our environment better. I'll give you a case in point. Recently, I was in Nigeria. I tried to go inquire how much taxes I was owing, even though I don't live there. I have a few properties there. I wanted to know how much I was owing in terms of land use taxes. And I went to Edo GIS, and it was almost a case of mockery. They were looking at me like I was crazy. Why am I coming in to ask those kind of questions? And at the end of the day, I had to escalate my quest to the director, and he wasn't available. And one of the expatriates, I think it's Stephen Carter, he intervened, and he was able to give me those information. And trying to make the payment was a bureaucratic mess. I think we have to have a system in place where you can just go in, log into a portal, and go in and make payments of land use taxes and any other taxes you may be owed. Because we know that revenue coming from the federal government is not enough to develop our state. And we all want the government to do this and do that and do all of these things, but the money is not enough.
Mr. Femi, can you please wind down? You've exhausted your 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. So I guess what I'm saying is we have to have a better system in place where we can go in and pay our taxes. We shouldn't make the process so difficult that
Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. We're going to move on to Esosa Ede Obarogi. Esosa. Unmute, please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Esosa from Geneva. Good evening, my dear Governor, Governor Obaseki. Greetings to the House. Please, I would like to talk in Pidgin English. Sir, you are a banker, an investment banker for that matter. I'm of the opinion that you'll be of very good use in the idea of starting a diaspora bank, especially an infrastructural bank that we diasporans can fund directly and that the state can borrow from, and we can use for developing our infrastructure at a very cheap rate. I don't know if you are interested. That's one of my ideas. I also want you to consider the fact that we need an international airport in Edo State because we are losing out to Lagos, Abuja. When we come in, we spend a lot of money before we get home, and when we are leaving, we still spend a lot of money out of Edo State. So if we can retain those expenses in Edo State, it will go a long way. The third question and the last one, sir, is when are we going to get potable water from our taps in our homes? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kenny Baswaye, please. In the interim, I want to say thank you to Yinka Garuba, Moza Isobakpolo, Uncle Sonny Rabo, Lamte Oriahi, and every other person behind the team on the government side and on this side that has made this possible. Ken Baswaye, please go on. Ambassador Matthew BQ Waifo.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, Your Excellency. I just want to say, make a statement instead of asking a question. In my statement, when you came in the first time, everybody said you had seeds in your hand and that you've come to plant seeds, like in the civil service, like in infrastructure development, that you are planting seeds for the future. But I disagree with that. And I always tell people that what you have in your hand are not seeds, but you have a forest in your hand. And this is because In every seed, there is a tree, and in every tree, there is a fruit and flowers with seeds in them. And these seeds and flowers also give birth to more trees and more seeds. So this is why I'm very elated with meetings like this to educate your people and to make them understand and have a knowledge of what the government is doing. And I wish to tell all Edolites across the world that nothing in life is instant. People think that success is instant. It is not at all. Edo State has big potentials, untapped, unsourced. And that is what the governor is trying to bring out for his state. So please, I will tell everybody with what we have heard today to go back to our different places. And those who were sitting on the fence, please support this government to realize his mega agenda. And also, I want to encourage every Edolite. We only have one home in the whole world, and it is called Edo State. So we should think what we can do for Edo State and not what Edo State can do for us. Thank you, Your Excellency, for this day. God bless you, sir, as you continue to look at the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Just to mention that our head of service is with us, and I must thank him for facilitating this meeting as well. He's left comments on the chat, which I'm trying to bring up. Unfortunately, my technology is not playing up. Any of the other backroom staff, if you can read the HOS's comment, fine. But if you can't, the governor may just...
Where did the HOS drop the message? Is it on the Zoom floor or Facebook?
On the Zoom floor chat, I think. I'm not able to scroll
Yeah, because
back.
I've seen a lot of, the HOS has been answering a lot of questions on the, I think I see a lot of comment on, he's been really active there, yeah.
Okay, apologies, HOS. I'm not able to scroll back my system at this time. But thank you for your interactions. I'm sure the public has seen your comments. They are well noted. And once again, thank you for working hard behind the scenes to facilitate this meeting. Thank you, HOS, our own barrister, Anthony Okunbowa. Your Excellency, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Let me just answer those 5 questions. I'll start with Charles Sadion. Thank you for your understanding of the challenges we face as a state and a country. We can do so much as a state, but if people who are supposed to manage the broader macroeconomic issues at the federal are not doing what they should do, it will be like us just running a treadmill, a lot of effort, and we're not making progress. But we will continue to, and I appeal to all of you to continue to speak up so that even whatever, we can also see reform at the federal level to support the kind of change and reform which we are making, because we are all faced with the same global challenge. If we don't grow the economy of Nigeria, no matter what we do, no matter what we do, we cannot get away from these issues of banditry, of Boko Haram and what have you. It's most of the problems we are having. The underlying cause is the economy. We will let you know. Like I said, we're working hard towards setting up an electricity market in Edo State, and we've made a lot of progress. We'll be coming up with some announcements. And whatever ideas you have, please feel free so that I can put you in touch or put the people in charge in touch with you. Gilligilly Port is going on very well. We're very pleased. The studies have now been completed. We know how much we need. We know the type of products we're talking to people, some potential users of the port and investors in the port. And we're very, very excited. I mean, every day as we work on this project, we just see the potentials are just huge. We now know what to do, the amount of dredging that needs to occur at the entrance of the Atlantic. We know how we know what the extent of the road. We've done all the mapping of the road network that we need to construct from the port into the city. We are also, talking to some people, large users, people going to be using the port, and they're all very, very excited. We expect that by the end of beginning of next year, we'll be in the market raising money, the funding, and I don't think there will be too much of a problem there. I want to thank you. I can't remember his name now, who talked about the sort of responsibility of the citizens. That is, which is the point I made on my inauguration. That you have asked me to come and govern Edo State. Are you not going to give me the tools with which to govern? I think it's important that we also look at that. And taxation is one of. Yes, we have a situation where for many years, because of long military rule, the military did not think they had the legitimacy to collect taxes from people. So the culture of collecting tax from citizens almost disappeared. We are reintroducing that. We've done a lot of work, and you see in the next few weeks and months, people will be coming to you with assessment. But what we've also done is we just didn't want a situation where we're going to collect taxes and we waste the money. I want to say a few things. Today, every kobo that we raise from tax in IGR goes to infrastructure. Every kobo. We don't spend one kobo out of it paying salaries or doing anything. I use it in paying the contractors who are building roads and schools and buildings. That is what we spend tax money for. So we can account for the money we've raised as tax. Two, using technology and the restructuring now, we are making the process of tax administration, collection and payment very easy, in line with what was suggested, so that people can pay via POS terminals. You don't need to pay cash. You can pay online, you can pay with your phone, your assessment. And we're not increasing taxes at all. We're only saying just pay what you are ought to pay. It's only people who are working in established institutions like government that seem to be paying. All those who are on their own never. So we're expanding the net and bringing those people in. And we're going to do it in a civil manner. We're not going to be using sticks. No, up to date, we see that most people want to comply. But most people in the private sector understand it. But if you don't come to them, they are not likely to come up first. So the issue of reorientation, conscientizing them is very important, and we're going to continue to work on that. The role of the diaspora cannot be we cannot say no, we can never say no. Our strength in Edo today, the reason why we are seeing economic growth is because of the diaspora. We're seeing flows coming in. We're seeing commitments, we're seeing ideas, we're seeing capacity, we're seeing interests coming from our own side. And what we need to do is to continue to forge that close partnership with the diaspora. The realm of possibility with the diaspora is unimaginable. I tell people, I say, look, just from my own investment banking experience, today, the total amount of money government has to spend in a year is it's not even up to $500 million. But the amount of money those from the diaspora, both the Nigerian diaspora, African diaspora, and the global diaspora bring in is in excess of $2 billion a year. So the diaspora, people from outside the state, bring in almost five times what the state government spends. But so if the government can organize its own and use its resources, then you will see that the diaspora inflows will go a longer way than it's going now. So the diaspora is not one thing we joke with at all. Well, that's why this sort of interaction and engagement is something we will continue to do. I'm going to try and have one before the end of the year, at least if nothing else, just to wish you a happy Christmas and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So we'll have one before the year runs out. And then some of our plans will be much clearer. We'll be able to tell you a lot much more about the things we're doing. The 30-year development plan is key. We need to sell it to you. You need to buy into it, because that plan shows you that we'll have our own river port, we'll have an international airport, we'll have areas designated for technology development, we'll have areas for healthcare, for what I call the future economy. All of these are being laid out in the master plan, which we are developing, which we will share with all of you. The plan for water, what is sad is that all of this existed before. I saw it in the 1973 development plan. I saw it. You could see, when you go around the city today, you see all the infrastructure that was built. It worked. So I am very optimistic that we can do it again. It's just commitment and dedication. So all the issues you've asked about, the development fund yes, once we are able to lay out the requirements, what we'll need, the resources we need to undertake the transformation to make Edo great again, we will come back to you with all the alternatives. Definitely the diaspora have a lot of role to play. We will raise diaspora bonds, we will raise diaspora funds, and we'll look at where we can get the money and use the money to quickly finance the rapid development which we envisage. I want to thank you very, very much. I cannot, tell you this 2.5 hours is like within 30 minutes, but we've been here for 2.5 hours just talking. We will never stop talking. There's so many questions you've asked, we've not been able to answer. But what I can assure you is that, look, I found that the biggest problem we had in our politics and government is trust. When the people did not trust our people did not trust those of us in government and politics. I am trying to reestablish that trust. And certain things must happen for you to believe. You must be convinced that we are not doing the things that created the mistrust in the first place. We want to be sure, we want to be transparent and open. And we want to also always continue to communicate so that you know what is going on. Like I said, we are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you know that we are doing all we can with all our hearts, our mind, to just make Edo great again. And I know from just listening to you, reading your comments, hearing the interests that have been expressed by many of you, that you are all committed. And just like Ambassador Becky Wifo said, many of you want to do something for Edo. We must now make it possible to create the platform so that for you to conveniently and easily contribute your own quota to the development of our dear state. I want to thank you for the support we've enjoyed from you to date. I want to, also say that don't be too worried. I understand the panic, the anxiety when you see some false narrative on social media. Everybody's so worried. That's a part of the challenges of the new communication, the new order. Be circumspect, but just trust that we will not do anything that is contrary to the interest of majority of Edo people. I want to thank you, Abu Wawese. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much, Governor Godwin Obaseki. To be honest, your response to questions today definitely assures many of us that the way to mega is very clear. The pathway to mega is very clear. And we pray that God leads you in wisdom and, of course, good health to actualize the vision for Edo State. And I want to equally thank every Edo State citizen that has taken part, that has been part of this process. Thank you very much. For those on Facebook and those on YouTube, everybody, we thank you. And I want to apologize briefly. we had a moment where, some people logged in. We don't know how many, but they tried to compromise our system. And so we had some hitches here and there, but we were able to identify that very quickly and, of course, dealt with it quickly. I will now call on Mr. Sonny Irabo to give us a vote of thanks. Uncle Sonny Irabo, please.
Yes. Excellency, thank you very much. In fact, I'm sure everyone that is present here and those who heard it from other sources would agree with me that you've taken it hands-on. But what I really love about the fact that, about what you did is the fact that you are able to explain things effortlessly, convincingly. And so there's no need for anyone to start, developing all kinds of aggressive or unfriendly attitude towards your candid opinion and your focus for Edo State. So thank you a great deal, and I hope the people that took part have really gained a lot from that process. I would also like to say a few words that everyone that took part, I think I counted almost 300 or thereabout. You guys did very well, and those that asked questions, you did very well too. Those that did not bother to show their faces, it's not your fault. Even those that tried to show their faces, sometimes it was difficult. I want to thank all of you and to ask you to put your best into believing in the Edo of our dream, which Governor Godwin Obaseki is projecting for us. So please spread the word to other Edo indigenes and even Nigerians that Edo is not just the heartbeat of the nation, it's here to stay, and we're going to be the focal point moving the nation forward. And from what I've seen His Excellency do, I think we have a lot to gain from it. So thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you, participants, Edos in diaspora and Edos worldwide. Thank you all, and God bless you. God bless Edo State. God bless Nigeria.
Now we don't hear from the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki. Let us know what you think for comment section. If you never subscribe to Dan ARG YouTube, try make you subscribe so that make you for the hear all the things where they happen for Edo State. Make I leave you now with this video, make you help us share them. Thank you for watching Dan ARG YouTube.